AI in a classroom can take many forms, from teachers using it to help grade and monitor their classes to student research and learning approaches. But it also raises issues of authenticity, plagiarism, safety, and fairness. It has rung many alarm bells in both classrooms and boardrooms, as well as the halls of the White House. We're currently at the beginning of this new technology boom, and it's only getting bigger. And one of those companies that's trying to harness AI in education is Paper. And the founder joins us now for Insight. Phil Cutler, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. So let's talk about first what Paper does, and then I'd love for you to get into how you are incorporating AI.
Well, Diane, thank you for having me here today. Paper is really an organization that focuses on supporting communities by working with the school districts. And we do that by providing students with academic support, and that can come a number of different ways. We're best known for our online tutoring, which provides students with support 24/7. We also have a practice component that lets students sharpen their skills. And then probably the most important piece of a student's success is building a plan. And so there's a whole aspect to our platform that helps students build a plan that ultimately gives them the direction and guidance to be the best student and be motivated in their academics.
And tell me a little bit more about this plan. I believe you're saying you can develop this plan within a short period of time. What are the metrics in terms of it needing to be revised, just in general? Because this seems to be some cutting edge technology with respect to the teacher-student interface here. How are you approaching this?
Well, Jared, the number one thing that drives student motivation, and we can probably all relate to this to a certain degree, is connecting our courses to our personal interests or our career ambitions. And the biggest mistake that we make as a school system is oftentimes we don't give students that context. And so what Paper does is we help have students connect their personal interests, so their career ambitions, to the courses that they're taking. And that allows them, as they develop and grow, to stay motivated to do well in the courses that they're enrolled in. And we also provide them with the support in order to excel in those courses, to learn the material that they need to learn. And it's constantly adapting, right? As students grow, as they move from first grade to second grade to fifth grade to 12th grade, they're constantly going to be evolving, and the platform evolves with them as well.
Phil, I want to get into something that Chegg talked about recently, and they've just put out their quarterly results as well, seeing revenue decline. And recently, they talked about just the impact of AI on their business. The CEO saying they'd seen a significant spike in student interest in ChatGPT, and believing it had an impact at the time on their customer rate growth. Not sure yet in terms of their decline in revenue, how that's impacted their business. What about ChatGPT when it comes to your business? Is it friend or foe?
So we look at all of the generative AI tools as opportunities to better personalize the experience for students. I think in the case of Chegg, and what Dan is alluding to is, they're in a consumer market where a solution like ChatGPT comes along and it's essentially free for students. It can be really competitive, right? At that price point, it's difficult to justify the investment in a lot of the tutoring offerings that they may have been providing. In our case, we're providing this through the school, and it's not just about the academic support. It's actually about personalizing the experience even further. So from our perspective, the role that generative AI can play is to be able to provide a level of personalization, both to our tutors, but also to the classroom teachers, so that every student does have that connection to their personal interests or their career ambitions that they couldn't necessarily have before. We wouldn't be able to provide that level of individual attention to every single student's interests without using some sort of AI.
Now, Phil, I want to ask you that you have done some layoffs over the past year. Do you expect you use human tutors to be replaced by just AI, by generative AI, for instance?
Well, the way we're looking at it is not a replacement to the tutors, but rather an augmentation of their ability. And what we're trying to do is provide them with more insight into best supporting each individual student and those students' needs. And so, my learning style may be different than your learning style. our AI is actually supporting the tutors to help them either through prompts or other methods in order to make sure that each student's experience is sort of unique to their own interests and what they want. So it's not necessarily replacing them. And I think that's not really the goal in terms of how we look at it. It's rather, let's make their job easier and let's make them better at it so the student experience is ultimately the best it can possibly be. Because at the end of the day, our goal is to give every single student the tools and resources that they need to reach their potential.
All right. Phil Cutler, founder of Paper. Thank you so much for the time.